Hello there, everybody. This is Alex from Hardcoin Guides, bringing my guide for Evil West on Evil difficulty. Today we're doing Chapter 13, entitled Old Friends. Yeah, I did all that in like one breath, and I just got done running back down here real quick to do that. So, of course, you know, all those cheeseburgers and pizza and fries is not really helping me out now, is it? Anyway, let's talk about the guide, not specifically my stupid routine of being a fat freak. But, it doesn't matter. I was gonna say, like, I should probably start this over. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. I've tried restarting this commentary. I don't know how many times. This is like, I think my third time doing it now, something like that. And the second time around, I think it lagged, and I was kind of worried. Because, for some reason, these videos have been getting kind of laggy. I don't know, like, whenever, it even happens when I'm playing the game, too. And I'm not sure if that's just a PC problem or not. I don't think that this, I mean, the way I have it set up is I have a lot of bloom and stuff turned off because it bothers me. So I'm not sure that affects too much. It shouldn't. Anyway, this fight does kind of suck. You have to deal with a hive mind, and you have to deal with the vampire cowboys. And, of course, as it always is, usually the hive mind guy is who I tend to go for first, and at the very least try my damnedest to try to get a full rage onto him. If you don't have rage at this point, you're probably better off just trying to focus. Well, even then, still, you kind of have to focus on the hive mind anyway, because if you don't, he's just gonna shield them from taking damage, so it doesn't really matter. I can't really get any kills, or keels? Why did I say that so weird? I can't get any kills if I have these guys on my back, so that does suck. Three total, like, big, giant elite guys, and then a whole entire hive dude. And these vampire cowboys, they take forever to kill, too, which sucks. But if you got some dynamite, which, well, I mean, you do by now, but if you want to go ahead and use some dynamite, you know, group these guys up, hit them with some dynamite, that also works out a ton. Just anything that gives you a nice big amount of just AoE damage would be extremely helpful. And I kind of end up screwing that up there, too, because I bought the contact dynamite instead. I bought the sticky dynamite. I'm starting to wonder if that was even a good idea, to be honest with you, because I don't think it really is. I don't think it really helps much, but I could have sworn you have to buy an upgrade to get to the next set of upgrades, I thought, but maybe you don't. I'm just being dumb. But yeah, this fight just ends up becoming essentially the same as any other fight, which just boils down to take out the main priority, and then after that start focusing on the fodder, and so forth and so forth. So nothing really new, nothing too crazy really going on, just the same old elite takedown, shotgun, that sort of thing. And then, of course, you know, build into rage so you could just eliminate these guys a lot faster. Now, the problem with this fight, though, is it seems like if you have elites just in this fight at all, I'm not exactly 100% sure if this is true or not, but it almost feels as if the regular vampire fodder, the cowboys here, it almost seems like they spawn in infinitely if, you know, elites are around. Because it seems like once I've taken out these guys, all of a sudden I'm able to, you know, delete this one right here and just basically be done with the entire thing. So I'm not sure if this is one of those types of fights that ends up being kind of like an infinite supply of enemies, or at least a huge amount until you've gotten rid of everybody, or until you get rid of the bigger guys, type thing, or not. I really don't know. I just kind of play the game, and if things happen, it happens. I know this is supposed to be a guide. I'm supposed to tell you just pretty much any and every detail that I can figure out or that I know of, but there are games from time to time that I don't really dead offhand know, you know, every little tidbit of information, unfortunately. Like, even probably for something like BioShock, which is supposed to be my favorite game, even then, I still probably wouldn't be able to tell you every little bit of tidbit, you know, the natural amount of health or whatever. Like, I know that enemy health bars do tend to grow in later levels. I know that. You see what I mean? Like, I'm already kind of flubbing even that one up, too. Yeah, it's just how it is. Unfortunately, if they're outside the arena, you cannot shoot them, but yet, again, another stinking hive mind. And luckily, this one actually is a mole fight, which moles are not that bad to deal with. Thank God. And another thing that's kind of lucky, too, is they do drop a cell right on nearby. so you can get at least one little bar of cell, and I got super lucky with that rage, which is nice that you can actually chase down the hive in rage. It didn't work out in the last fight because I kind of got stuck with somebody else. And then I almost kind of got screwed by the mole man here anyway, just as is. And for this fight, priority goes in order by, for me personally, I would recommend hive into spider into mole. So yet again, it's just going to be a giant elite. I guess these guys would be considered elite, I guess. Well, I mean, they are more so mini-bosses, but they kind of work in the same way that elites do. Or think like Taurus Demon from Dark Souls 1 and Capra Demon, where they kind of show up later and like Lost Izalith or whatever. I think kind of like that. That's kind of essentially what ends up happening. But of course, with the spider guy, just take out the spider webs. Well, the spider's on his back, because that's actually what's shooting, to be fair. And then just after that, just do what you do normally. That attack right there, it's almost not impossible. It's just really hard to kind of land a unblockable hit, so I tend to try to just dodge it more often than not. I feel like it saves me a lot more trouble. And then the rest is just the mole fight, so nothing too big. Just get him to stagger, that sort of thing. If he's dumb enough to go underground and pop out and then get himself hit, that's kind of his fault. That's on him. Since we have time to talk in this episode, I just knocked away an orb. Do you see that? I didn't even see that until now. I'll talk about it in a second. But yeah, once you knock off one of his arms, he will just start going into non-dig variant and just end up trying to go for basic attacks. So at that point, it's pretty much just stagger into stun, and then, you know, the rest is pretty easy from there. Alright, let's take a look here. We're about not even halfway through the level yet. That's crazy to think about. Oh yeah, this is the level that has the minigun in it, or Gatling, whichever it was called in this one. But it's a pretty effective weapon, I would say. I do end up getting, I think, the upgrade for the flamethrower to get flamethrower distance, just because, like, even though I don't use it, I don't really have much of the cash to spend things on. So I ended up just saying, screw it, whatever, I'll just go buy something a little extra, you know, for the sake of it. But since we have a little bit of time to talk about stuff, I want to talk about things outside of guides real quick, just because, you know, just give myself something to talk about. Well, I'm a big Metroid guy, so I bought Metroid Prime 4. You know, I pre-ordered it, all that stuff. I was going to get it day one, no matter what. And I finally got to the section which was shown in the trailers, essentially where I've gotten to the part where I got the bike. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I don't think I'm really liking it that much. The whole game as is. I find it quite tedious and annoying. And I don't find the upgrades, they don't seem to kind of do it for me. They don't give the same dopamine hit. And I went to play Prime 1 again yesterday because that's one of my favorite Metroid games to play. And just immediately, you know, as soon as I got the Terron and everything, it's like, yeah, this is this very good. But I'm just not really enjoying Prime 4. I'll beat it, and then I'll give my opinions that way. This could be a Silent Hill F situation where I didn't like Silent Hill F for like 4 whole hours of just pure gameplay. I was like, I can't. This is just unfun. And all the characters were very obviously other characters that I knew of. You know, there was a lot of the same archetype that I'm very familiar with. And I was like, this sucks. And then I got to the good point, or what I consider the good point when the combat starts to get better. And then it just kind of hit, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I wonder if Metroid Prime 4 might be that way. I'm not trying to say that you guys shouldn't get Metroid Prime 4. If you're looking to get it, you know, that's on you. But I play quite a bit of Metroid games, so if you want to take my advice, this might not be it, Chief, but I don't know, because I've not beaten the game yet, so I cannot give a full experience. I'm just telling you what I've accomplished right now. The bike itself is kind of neat. The game does feel good, though. Like, when you're playing it, it does actually feel like a good game. But for me, honestly, it's just there's so much tedium. And the worst part was, there's a certain part where I have to use Morph Ball to do something. And there's something extra with Morph Ball. I don't want to spoil it, because, you know, the game just came out. I don't want to spoil it too much. Morph Ball has been around in every fucking Metroid. I can talk about that. But there's something a little bit new-ish with Morph Ball stuff here that you can do. And, I was stuck on something I didn't know what to do with, and I found out because I looked up a video. I'm like, okay, I give up. You know, I can't fucking. I'm sitting here for like 30 minutes. I can't do this. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Only to find out that the only way I was supposed to know what I was supposed to do, funny enough, was by turning the tutorial back on. Because I turned it off. Because I'm like, well, I don't really need a tutorial to tell me what to do. Motherfucker, they hid the goddamn answer in the goddamn tutorial. Like, could I have figured out the puzzle any other way? Probably not. That's the thing, though. Because I'm a Metroid veteran. I'm used to how things work normally, that every other game does normally. This game has different stuff, so of course, I'm not going to know that new stuff. And then when you just don't deliberately tell me what that new stuff is, until I turn on the fucking tutorial, that kind of pisses me off a little bit, not gonna lie. You know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm a loser. Maybe I'm an idiot. It could be a number of things. You know, but I just... The game kind of bothers me. And then on other topics, we've been playing some Yu-Gi-Oh games lately. And I've been like in a little bit of a Yu-Gi-Oh mood. And just today, went to GameStop because we were just around the area. Why not? We got some pizza, that kind of thing. And then, I was like, fuck it, I'll pick up a couple of cards. I ended up getting one of the cards I actually wanted, which was the new Canine cards that came out, I guess. I think they're new. And it's like, almost tempted to build a deck, but then I realized, if I do that, it's just going to get outmetted. So, what's the point? Alright, Elite time. You have a guy with Gatling that's shooting at you constantly. That's where we're going to get our new gun at. And you could avoid him by either hiding behind cover, but he does every once in a while have a moment where you can shoot him, and you can stop him from doing something. You can't necessarily kill him. You have to let the cutscene do it. I know it's really weird, but you can basically shoot the turret, essentially. But only, of course, when the weakness shot, you know, kind of comes up and then gives you the indicator of doing it. But, yeah, so, I don't know, like, I was looking at it, I was looking at, like, what the top deck was, of course, you know, Ash Blossom being a part of that, and, because, you know, it's just pretty meta stuff, and it's just, like, I don't know, man, like, I know as soon as I build this fucking deck, I know exactly what's gonna happen. My friend's gonna go build a deck of his own that's going to out-meta everything that I did, and it's just gonna ruin the whole thing, so it's like, I just don't feel like doing it. And if you're thinking, like, well, you know, are you just blaming your friend for that? It's like, not necessarily, because that's just how Yu-Gi-Oh is. I'm saying, like, that's just, in real life, that's what will probably end up happening, is you'll probably have a more meta deck than mine, and then I'll just out-fucking-meta my shit, so it's like, what's the point? And then, in online-wise, if I build in a Master Duel, which would take fucking years to do anyway, I'm just going to get out-metted online anyway. So it's like, I can't play it physically without getting out-metted, and I can't play it fucking online without getting out-metted. There's nothing I can do, really. So, and I don't even think the Legacy of the Duelist game that came out before Master Duel even has the option for these cards, because these are, as far as I know, new. So, it just, trying to get into Yu-Gi-Oh! Again is just a pain in the ass, because it just doesn't seem like it's possible at this point. And again, I'm not blaming just one particular person. I'm just saying, like, that's just something that's happened before, is, you know, a long time ago we tried building decks, and my friend is more of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fiend than I am, and he built, like, a ton of decks, and some of which, you know, might not necessarily be meta, but they were definitely stronger than whatever the hell I used to have. So, it just kind of made it to where, like, if you're going to play with him, or play against his decks, you're going to have to play his decks in order to even have a fighting chance. And I've never really been much of a deck builder anyway. So I end up building, you know, very basic shit, or just buying, you know, just the basic what do you call them again? I should know this. I used to collect cards. Damn it. You know what I mean, starter deck stuff. Like, I used to, you know, buy those and build around that, because that's kind of the idea. And nothing I would do would just ever be strong enough. I mean, I could fight my brother or fight my own decks, but, you know, you try fighting your friend, it's like, yeah, he's the Yu-Gi-Oh! Guy, so you can't really do anything with it. And it does, you know, regardless of what happens, it does hurt a little bit. You know, it does hurt your pride a little bit, and you're like, God damn it, there's like nothing I can do, and it just makes the game not fun anymore. So that can happen. And that can happen in any group, really. It doesn't matter, you know? It's not just us. I'm just saying, like, that can happen to anybody. Like, I could just be playing at tournaments, and then all of a sudden, you know, there'd be some guy that just shows up with something I'd never seen before and just completely wipe the floor with everybody. And then at that point, it's like, well, that just fucking ruined everything. That's just the nature of games like that, you know, competitive games. Is unless you're trying to stick with meta, you'll probably never win. Well, I mean, there's a chance, but I don't know. Anyway, this fight's just about as basic as you know. It's the same goddamn fight over and over again at this point. This entire chapter is not that hard. The only part I can think of that would be hard would be the farm coming up pretty soon. And that's just based on the idea that I died once. Yeah, I only died on that farm section. That's about it. Again, sorry about the lag. I'm not sure if that's just a video footage. If it's that bad, I'm not sure if it's the game that was doing this. I don't think the game was having too much problems. It's just for some reason the video footage is just always. It's just crap. You know, everything's kind of crap. I don't know. It could be an OBS problem at this point. I wouldn't be surprised because we were trying to record Goof Troop not that long ago. And it was for a co-op video. And it recorded the footage just fine, but the commentary was off. And then I sent my friend was like, I'll go take care of it. I'll go fix this. I'll let you know what happens. And then never told me. So there's also that, too. It's like, motherfucker. But I'm pretty sure I just assumed at that point, like, yeah, most likely it's probably just dead. Like, there's just no salvaging it. So I just deleted and threw it away and just said, fuck it, whatever. But the good news is, because this was three of us, this was me, my friend, my brother that recorded these. I eventually, like, this weekend brought over my friend and we recorded Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, the collection. Early days collection, because I got it, like, half off on sale. I got pretty lucky with that. I'm like, fuck it, I'm taking it, whatever. So got it, like, half off, and, yeah, I kind of enjoy it. It's funny, too, because we've always talked about Legacy of the Duelist, the GX Game Boy game, and how fantastic it is. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead here. Just a little bit of an edit because I was doing things out of order. There's no point to come up here just yet. So you're going to see like a slight little awkward clip. And it's funny, we talked about that when I looked it up, and the gameplay is just pretty much close to about how World Tournament was, which is also on the early days collection. So it's like, well, why even bother getting GX for, unless you just want to play GX. But that would be about it. And, you know, that game is fairly priced, so I don't know. Maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't. But I've been buying too much other crap lately. You know, too many games have come out this year that have made it just a lot more priority is kind of it's kind of made so that, you know, I want to play those instead. And then just like the Black Friday stuff, you know, we're still kind of succumbing to it a little bit. You know, there's quite a bit of things on Black Friday that just was worth getting, I guess you could say. There was a hell of a sale. Of course, Steam, you know, that's always the proprietor of just tons of sales and shit. I usually try not to buy games unless they're on sale. Not because like I'm a super cheap ass, but because it feels better when I do it that way. It's like, oh, well, if I bought it on sale, I'll feel better because I didn't pay full price. And then yet I still buy like a ton of... Well, that's the technicality of it, isn't it? Like you just buy 3 games for like the price of 1 at that point. So I see nothing really wrong with buying games on sale, and I think Steam understands that more than anybody. So people really like their stuff. Oh, just this week on Steam there was that Total War, I think it should be called. But they had like Total Warhammer 3. They had like this entire collection of Total Warhammer 3 like DLC or whatever, like $75. I'm like, god damn, well how much is it normally? It's like $200. It's like, fucking Christ. So I never got into the Total War games. I like Dawn of War, which is not a Total War, but I like Dawn of War. You know, I like some things for Warhammer. I'm not a huge Warhammer head, or even a Total War head either. I think like Sid Meier was on there as well on that sale. I'm not like the biggest fan, but I like him every once in a while. Like Battle Sector was okay. I forgot to cut this out. Well, it didn't last very long, but if you're wondering what that pause was, I had to clean my nose, I think it was. I was just like mid-gameplay, like, fuck, this is annoying me. So I meant to cut that out. It wasn't that long anyway. But yeah, if you guys are curious, I do recommend Dawn of War. I think it's Dawn of War 2 is the one I play. I actually do like that game. And Space Wolf, I like that one too. Very XCOM card game-like. I like those. Slay the Spire, XCOM, that type of stuff. It's kind of neat. Alright, so on to this. This fight's going to be really annoying because it's really hard to see what you're doing, which is why I recommend kind of standing out in the open, so that way you can try to keep these guys within the just visual distance. I only died once, thank God, but once is more than enough to die on. Now would probably not be the time for dynamite, because there's better options for better fights to probably use dynamite on. However, you know, this is essentially just what this first fight boils down to, is just essentially the same one-trick pony of just bringing enemies toward you, using shotguns, so forth and so forth. Keep the cross for later. And keep your eye on the scarecrows, too. They don't move, it's just that those are good places to find extra fights, which is something that can actually happen. There are actual extra fights in this mission, so at least one extra fight that I know of. But around the scarecrows, there's usually items. It's like goldens and such. This guy, for some reason, I don't know why he didn't just give the big giant dude invincibility. I guess the game probably thought it'd be too much, which is funny. But once the hive mind peers in, beat him down, go for the cross shot, go for a shotgun blast, do anything to your... If you have rage mode, just waste it on him. You know, just waste the hive mind first. That's the first thing you should probably do, because the big guy behind me is not that too hard to deal with. In terms of dodging his stuff, he's luckily not too hard to fend off. And honestly, I feel like Evil West does a better job at giving you an enemy indicator than God of War ever did. So, God of War, the Neo God of Wars, not the old ones. It's like that flashing yellow light actually does help. And I feel like God of War 4 it doesn't really do much for me at all. This guy, of course, he can spawn fodder, which is not good for him, but it's great for us because we get a bunch of energy cells out of it. And then I can just use rage to beat him down until the game decides to say, you know what, never mind, the rage will just turn off, I guess. Didn't think that was a thing. I kind of forgot that even happened. It doesn't really matter because I eventually get it back anyway. And then just, you know, to be fair, like the big guy himself, he's really not that hard. This is one of the easier ones to kind of take down too, which is nice. He's almost ready for a stun. Get that nice little bit of a beat down on him. And just keep building stuff up. Just keep building up rage. So forth and so forth. Like, I understand that this fight is kind of hard, though. I mean, a little bit. It's just more so about spacing and just, you know, watching your back, staying out the open, or at least keeping enemies out in the open. So that way you can get a good visual on them. Which, thankfully, the health bar comes in handy, of course. So, you know, if you can't find them, then that's probably a good place to look, obviously, but, you know. And the Gatling, thankfully, does have a pretty decent charge on it. It charges up a little bit faster than the Dynamite, thank God, but still. Definitely nice when it comes out, but it goes down pretty fast, which is kind of the consequence of it. I might not upgrade it too much, though. I might consider it, because I did upgrade the flamethrower. I believe I did at one point, so probably should. Now, for this part, what I recommend doing is not fighting near the chest. As much as I'm doing that right now, I'm just being kind of silly with this. I recommend just bringing them out to like the main area, like the middle area, so that way you can just get a better visual on them. And then whenever Gatling builds up or whenever flamethrower goes, you know, just waste them down like you usually do. Dynamite, that sort of thing, if you got it. Then, of course, the typical grapple, pummel sort of thing. If you want, you can save your rage. It really doesn't matter. If you got the upgrade that I got, then saving your rage at this point is just kind of something you don't need to worry about too much, thankfully. And then just proceeds to waste it there anyway. No surprise. Just an accident, you know, it happens. You're trying to hit L. You're trying to block, and then you hit punch at the same time. It kind of screws everything up. But hey, at least this chapter is finally done, and we'll be heading into chapter 14 next. Which, I don't recall exactly what chapter 14 had in it, though. Oh, which one is it? Oh, God, I think it's the one with that... I think it's the one with a really bad fight. Yeah, there's like this double spider fight you have to do, and it's just really nasty. I bought that. I bought Death Defied because why not? It's kind of cheap, but, you know, it's one of those things that if I happen to die, I can come back to life for like a few, just few seconds of invulnerability, I think, or something like that. So it's kind of nifty. Not gonna lie. Yeah, you get like a forest filled with a Gatling, and I forget what else. I think you have to find those, don't you? I should know this. I play the game. I should know this stuff. There you go, extra crispy. Extra crispy, just like I like them. There should be gold around here, I thought. Okay, maybe not every Scarecrow has anything, but this one does. And this one looks like, I forget his name. From Steins Gate. He does a toot-doo thing. I forget his... God damn it, I forget his name. Anyway, that's it. Take care, everybody.